What's good? What's good, people? Your boy Scott Lewis, Apartment Gamer, and more here with another one. What's good? How's everybody doing? All right, we're gonna get right to it. I want to talk a little bit about the place that Cam Thomas have in this on this team, and as far as is he somebody that we can sign for the future with the rest of the draft picks? Um, we got 5 draft picks. You figure the season getting ready to start. It's about to get hot, so I know I'm excited. I think everybody's kind of excited about that. I wanted to know, like, I had put up a, a survey asking people, and I'm gonna bring it back up. Is it a mistake trading Cam Thomas? Because it seemed like that might be the possibility. I see. I got one vote so far. Somebody said yes. You could put it. It's in the comments. So I'm gonna put it in the comments again. I'm gonna put it in there right now. So you can go, or you can hit the QR code, which you see if you can, if you're in front of a TV or a computer. I'm gonna put this. Let me put it right back up. But yeah, that's. I think when you think about it, every good team has a scorer on their team, a pure scorer, and I think look at going forward, we need to have one now. Whether we keep Cam or not, that's another thing. I mean, that depends on what the team and the organization think. Apparently, we kind of know what they're thinking. I'm also going to put the link up. Let me put the link out just in case somebody wants to get in. I put the link in the chat. Yeah, I mean, getting rid of to me. Now this is just me. You know, a lot of people kind of feel like we can trade him to get something else. I think it'll just be another move that, that's unnecessary when you already have a homegrown scorer on your team. I think, personally speaking, I didn't think it was the money. I think it was more or less with Cam, probably, probably, probably the having the right or the way to try to pick what team he would want to go to. I can understand the trade. I can understand trading him for something else if it's fruitful. I mean, sometimes we have a tendency of looking at another superstar or something like that. We've been down that road. I think Net fans been down that road of the superstar thing. So trying to draft a piece, I mean, that's probably one of the best ways to do it, but it takes time. Do the fans in New York and Brooklyn willing to take that time? Because usually the New York market is kind of vicious when you think about it. We got John here from
Hey
Everything
Scott,
BK. What's up, John? How you doing?
is that doing good? Is that the results of your poll that you posted?
So far,
Wow, that's
so
that's a lot of blue. I know we're all feeling the blues right now, so I feel like it's very on point. Nah, but it's good to be here, Scott. I'm glad you want to have this conversation again. Listen, at the end of the day, the situation between Cam Thomas and the front office has been an absolute mess for 4 years. We've seen the fractures. We've seen Cam get benched. We've seen Cam have great games. We've never seen Sean Marks give Cam a single iota of credit that, hey, this is a guy for our future. He's never said that. The highest compliment Sean gave was this past summer, where he said, "Oh, Cam's put a lot of work in the gym." Like literally, when somebody says that about you, it's not like they're super valuable. It's like, hey, the guy's here and he's working. Like that's just the problem with this relationship for 4 years. It's been on
Yeah,
unsteady ground, and you feel bad for Cam in a sense because he can clearly score like nobody else. Like it's insane that a lot of people really don't like his scoring. I mean, he doesn't even crack top 100 lists for like these a lot of these media
yeah,
companies right now. So
yeah,
you definitely feel for Cam on that side of things, but also you look at the NBA, the way it's evolving. They're embracing this Euro positionless basketball. You can tell Adam Silver is definitely a part of that. And for right now, Cam's three biggest weaknesses: lack of height, lack of athleticism, and lack of defense. You see those three attributes being a part of a lot of players that were drafted this past summer. Like it's unfortunate, but you see the way Jordy's building things. You see what Sean and Joe, I guess, are trying to do is that they're embracing a Euro positionless movement. And it's unfortunate because how can Cam operate with that when his biggest skill is his scoring abilities? And you're basically telling him to play positionless when he can't do it. You're telling him to be more of a playmaker when he wants to only a certain extent. That doesn't take away from his scoring. So, yeah, this relationship between Cam and the front office has just been on unshaky ground. And I know some people are hoping there's a chance to save it if Cam goes off from October to December 15. But once December 15 hits, if Cam's playing well, don't be surprised if there are people calling the Brooklyn Nets front office asking what they can get for Cam. And I agree with you, Scott. Getting fair value for Cam is important, but the fact he's only making $6 million, you almost have to take what you can get at the same time as well. Because at the end of the day, if there is no going back on this relationship, letting Cam walk for nothing would be one of the biggest mistakes on top of the biggest mistakes Sean Marks and Joe Desai have made in the last 10 years. You let that guy go, he will be a sixth man making $18 to $20 million on a good team, Scott. And I agree with the poll that if you let him go and you don't get a franchise guy in next year's draft, it really is a potential what if with Cam Thomas. But at the end of the day, I just don't think there's any salvaging that relationship. When Cam signed the qualifying offer, it's almost like saying adios and I'm in control of my future. So I just feel like right now that relationship, there's no coming back from it on both
yeah,
sides.
yeah. It seems like that's fair because it seems like that's the way they want to go. And
Hmm.
it's. I mean, the league is leading to the Euro thing. We know that. We can see
Right.
that, like with all of with all the MVPs and stuff, and the
Yep.
way they all from overseas, and so yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be it's going to be interesting. But what I'm saying is to lose him for nothing would be kind of crazy.
It
That's
would. It
crazy.
would be. It would be. And I would try to look at this season for Brooklyn as two parts. The first part is October 23 to December 15. Whatever happens from now till then, whether this team is overperforming expectations, underperforming, Cam will be showcased. So will a lot of these vets to a certain extent, while also trying to find time for the young guys. But let's say Cam does really well in November, December 15, him and these other guys, they will get calls because there are a lot of teams getting snake bitten by the injury bug, and the Brooklyn
Yeah,
Nets do have contracts to move. But at the end of the day, he's only making $6 million. But if a contending team really wants Cam, they're going to make an offer. I don't know if it's going to be great or decent to what Cam gives you offensively, but if there is no going back, Cam signing a qualifying offer means he's walking out. You got to get something back for Cam. You cannot just let him walk. You can't just purposely bench him. Like you got to let him play. And then if there's no going back, you got to get some value for him around December 15 to February 5th, which is part two. From part
right,
two, there's gonna be a lot of guys in conversations. Claxton, Terrence Mann. I don't think MPJ is gonna be traded because we have his contract for next year, which we could trade then. But Terrence Mann, Cam Thomas, Claxton, and Haywood Highsmith. Those are the four guys that are going to be in a lot of trade conversations from December 15th to February 5th. And I know the Cam fans really want to save Cam and have him still be on this team. But you just look at the moves that were made this summer. It seems like every move was made to counteract what Cam can't do as far as defense, athleticism, and height goes. And it's unfortunate, Scott, but this front office has given me no confirmation that they care about Cam Thomas. They said this summer, "Oh, we're gonna get a deal done with Cam. It's no problem." You made Cam one of the last parts of your assignments for this summer, and Cam was like, "I ain't feeling this, and I'll sign a qualifying offer." Like they have never valued Cam Thomas to that extent, and I appreciate the base for wanting to be loyal to Cam Thomas, given the fact that he does have scoring abilities. But you just
Right.
look at the relationship team in the front office, they don't value him, and he values himself a lot higher than what they
Yeah.
value him at. So I just feel like however this ends this season, I feel like there's an 85 to 90% chance this is Cam's last season with Brooklyn. I hate to say it, but there's been no confirmation in this front office that they're willing to reopen this relationship with Cam and whatsoever. So it's unfortunate, but that's just the way the cards were played this summer, and both sides didn't want to budge.
Right, right. Yeah, it's unfortunate because clearly he has a fan base here, and
Right,
the thing is that you're trying to build culture, and my biggest thing is how you going to build culture with that kind of turmoil. Players looking like, well, why should I come near? You just going to get rid
right,
of somebody when you feel like it, and I might like the case in Giannis. If you're trying to get Giannis, I mean, he clearly must be. You got to show something. You can't just say, "Oh, come over here." We know we got the money for you, we got the space, but what's his motivation? What will his motivation be to come to Brooklyn? That's the
right.
question.
That's a big question. I think the simplest answer that I've told guys on Ice's show earlier in the night, you got to let these five rookies play. Like, there are going to be some games where the vets are going to play a lot of minutes, but they're going to be back to backs where you can arrest certain vets. Those back to back games where you throw all five of those guys into the fire against whoever team it is, because they'll still have the energy, they'll still have the youth and the desire to want to really carve rules out for themselves. Like, those back to back games should really lean heavily to getting these rookies as much minutes as possible. And I think with Danny Wolf and Powell, especially in this preseason, both of them have done a lot in small sample sizes and limited time to up their value. And unfortunate thing with Cam Thomas is if he is traded, that opens up major minutes for Drake Powell, who has the defensive ability, has the athletic ability, and he has the height factor. The only thing is scoring. If Drake Powell can figure out his scoring rhythm while getting actual minutes, I hate to say he's a replacement to Cam Thomas, but he has the qualities Cam doesn't have. And if he gets time to actually develop the offense, it's almost like you're losing Cam, which is unfortunate. But Drake Powell really does look like he can be a quality addition to our future. Same with Claxton. I feel like he's going to get his value up this season, but Wolf is right on the cusp of wanting to get those minutes. So if we do trade Claxton and Cam, Powell and Wolf should get as much minutes as possible because they are the future of this team. And if you want to get a top pick, you got to trust these rookies because whether they win you some surprising games or they lose you a lot of games, the time and experience, like you've said, Scott, is important for these rookies, and that's how you make a case to stars. They got to evaluate these young guys to see what they can actually do in high pressure situations. This season is not really a lot of pressure on this team because nobody expects something from us. But these rookies got to get the chance to showcase to unhappy stars in the NBA that hey, if I align myself with these guys who are working their asses off, trying to prove something when nobody expects them to do anything, it definitely opens up eyes, Scott. But it won't
Yeah,
be open up eyes if Terrence Mann, MPJ, and Haywood are playing all these minutes and the young guys are sitting on the bench playing the last 10 to 15 minutes of a game. It cannot happen this year. Jordy needs to be held to the fire here a little bit. He said in his opening discussions on Media Day, I'm going to throw these young men in the fire. Hold him to his word. If you do that, Scott, I think the results will be what they're supposed to be, and the Nets let these guys develop, and at the end of the season, they get a top pick in top 1 to 5 range somehow. I feel like that's the easiest way to go about this, where we could all get the result we want. It's just how we get there.
you honestly think that he will play five rookies at one time?
On back to backs, he could because you can arrest a lot of vets. I would be foolish to play the vets on both back to backs. I realized that in last year's back to back games, Jordy was playing the vets a lot of minutes. Like Dennis Schroeder was playing 30 to 40 minutes on a back to back. And I'm like, you had some of these young guys who are getting no burn. Like, what are we doing here? Like, those back to back games, Wolf, Powell, Seraph, Nolan, and Yegor, they should be getting at least 20 to 25 minutes each on back to
Yeah,
back games. Like, you got
yeah.
to amp up their minutes this
I can
season.
live with that though. I can live with that. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's the right thing to do. They're going to definitely get playing time. I mean, you don't draft them and not have them on the team, and then don't not unless you don't see it. But I can't see that because why would you even draft them then? That's the question.
exactly.
Yeah, so they
Exactly.
definitely
And
going to
after
get. Go
yeah, and
ahead.
after February 5th, when some of these vet guys that I mentioned are traded, it should open up a whole load of playing time because March to April, That's how these rookies are going to want to end their season on good notes, and they should get all the minutes possible to really grow their game. So it's like it's unfortunate you have to move off of some guys, but that opens up the doors for Wolf, for Powell, and Nolan looks like he's going to need a little more development. Opens up a lot more playing time for him. So it's like that should be the ultimate goal this year. If we want to make a case to NBA stars, to NBA vets to want to come here and build with these young guys, you got to see what they can do in pressure situations. Set their own expectations. It just goes with time and experience. That is the best things these young guys can win for themselves this year is that time and experience, and maybe put themselves in some accolade conversations. That they're not going to get a whole lot of votes, but they'll be mentioned. I mean, for the last 10 years, Scott, none of our young prospects in Brooklyn have ever won a single accolade. That is insane. Like, that has to change if you want to be a serious
I think
team and
that's
do this right.
I think that's from bad picking of the draft. I really believe that.
Mhm.
And just, if you don't pick right in the draft, if you don't pick a good player coming out of college, somebody who you can see develop, and they don't develop at all, or they don't have the skill set from the beginning, the fundamentals of the game, then why would you even draft them? I mean, it behooves me that they would do such a thing, because if that's the case, then like the case with them letting go the other rookie, what's his name?
Derek Whitehead.
Well, Derek Whitehead. I
That
mean,
was a
why?
massive failure.
That was to me that was a miss, and I mean
Huge.
that's just a miss. I mean, yes, there was an upside, but you rolling dice. Why would you roll dice on your first round draft pick?
Yeah, but that's what Marks has done since the Big Three debacle. He rolled the dice on Ben Simmons, kept saying, "Oh, Ben's going to come back to some certain value." The guy was way past what he gave you in Philly his first 3 years of his career. And then you move on to the Whitehead, where yes, he had upside to be a potential lottery pick, but clearly the injuries were slowing him down. And Sean's like, "Oh, he'll get back to a certain point." For 2 years, he played 20 games. He had 3 surgeries. Like, it was a huge, massive failure investment. And the Sean Marks apologists on Twitter always say that Marks is known for his drafting. He is overrated. He's drafted 15 players the last 10 years. Cam Thomas is probably the best offensive player he drafted out of those 15 years. Harrison Vert is an argument, but we trade him at a certain point. At least Cam, he got more like attention from the base, but at the end of the day, Marks doesn't value Cam Thomas, so it's like really. And then Harrison Vert and Allen, like those guys were potential good long-term fits, but she traded them to get superstars. So yeah, Mark's draft resume is not what people say it's out to be. And the Whitehead investment was a complete failure, waste of time, and a waste of a pick. Like, you cannot do that. That's why the bar should be high for these young guys to get minutes. They need to put it up on themselves, to put themselves in those conversations, to make the case to the NBA why stars and vets should invest in them. That's the only way it's going to get done. And it's a good confidence booster for these young men. But yeah,
Well,
Sean Mark's draft resume is not what it's cracked out to be.
we got missed out. Okay. Yeah, that to me that's a fair statement that he has missed on his quite a few of his picks, but he has made some good decent picks. I thought Allen was a good pick. Levert was a good pick. He picked up some decent players that was already in the league a couple of years and put him in a good situation where he built a decent team. Um, I think he might be quite possibly doing the same thing here in this case. Yeah, well, and being that you want to try to, like John was saying, try to trade the vets for, I guess, more vets. I don't get it. Either way, you're going to play the vets because you're paying them, and most teams do that. That's what they do. That's the situation that we're dealing with as far as the NBA. And in the NBA, you don't expect these rookies to actually pick it up right away, but you do expect them to show, which is show their skill level. That's the reason why you drafted them. So that's my biggest thing is, are they willing to show Are they going to show in the game? We haven't seen our eighth pick in the preseason so far, which is kind of disappointing. I don't know how you go forward without your number one pick in the draft, without your eighth pick. He's sitting on the side watching, but that's kind of disappointing. That really is. So, what you
Hey,
think,
Scott, can
John?
you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you, John.
Yeah.
What you think
When did
about
when did I break?
the Igor thing? What you think
Listen,
about that?
I'm excited that Yegor.
Igor.
I'm excited that Yegor is playing 5-on-5. I think we want to see him healthy and available. We just have to hope he gets minutes as soon as possible. I think he will, and I know some people are a little worried, but listen, Yegor has shown good leadership skills behind the scenes. He admits he has to get physically stronger. For Yegor, this is a big growth year for him as far as getting better physically, getting better as quicker as a player on the court, and just to be a good leader for the young guys. So I feel like for Yegor, this is definitely a big year for him, and I hope he leads these young teammates next to him and just sets a good example for what the future of Brooklyn's supposed to be about. I know some people felt like we could have drafted him a lot later, but at the end of the day, he is probably one of the best vision passing players in this draft, and he has the height factor. For him, it's just scoring and physicality. If he gets those two things figured out, this definitely could have been a great long term investment with our first ever lottery picking Yegor, but we just have to see him play first, Scott. And I think he already has a leadership part down pat, which definitely is something we need as far as finding the future leaders of this team.
Yeah, yeah. I hope they get a chance to play. I hope he get the chance to play tomorrow. Well, Friday. Is it Friday? Yes,
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
So
So yeah.
so so that's important that he get on the court because you can't get better at just practicing. That's not going to help. That's
All
not going
right.
to help in the NBA. I'm telling you, that's not going to help. Yeah, you're going to look a little sharp, but as the game goes on, you're going to see that you're winded or whatever the case may be, and that's just not good rhythm for the other players because you're not on the court by yourself. So that being said, I hope Yegor Demen heals quickly and get back on the court so we can see what we're working with. And I wanted to talk about Ace Bailey and his injury. Do you know anything about it? There's a report out there that Ace Bailey has tendonitis, which is something that I didn't know that he had. And I'm not even sure. Yeah, in both knees. Well, he's dealing with tendonitis in both knees. Let me bring up that report. Wow, these rookies are coming out with a lot of injuries now, man. And this is another thing is that, sometimes you have to really pay attention to what these guys' injuries are before you draft them because, development is the key. That unity and that development is the key to how teams get better. You can't get better watching. You can't can't get better on the sidelines. You just can't. That's not going to. Ace Bailey leaves. Let me see. I'm gonna bring it up. Ace Bailey got tendonitis. Okay, let's see. Yes, tendonitis. There's a couple of reports about it. Tendonitis. And tendonitis in both knees at that. That's kind of terrible. Let me bring this up. It's in hoop height. Okay, let me see if I can just bring up that report. Okay. Yeah. Let me bring this up. I got it. Yep. Okay. Let's bring this up. Okay. Ace Bailey, despite missing Thursday's contest, Jazz coach Will Hardy downplayed Bailey's injury. He got some tendonitis in both knees. It's nothing that we're overly concerned with. Hardy said every team says that about their players. He's not going to be getting imagery like that. It's just trying to take care of him. He was a little sore during his second stint. Okay. So he has soreness of the knees. Bailey was averaging 22 points on first preseason. You know, preseason is what it is, and I don't put much, not that much onus into the preseason other than, you know, everybody's sharp in the beginning of the year. If you look at every team, everybody can do everything. Trust me. But yeah, as the season go on, you know those things will bother him. It doesn't get easier. That's for sure. If that's what you want to say. But I mean, you know, medicine is medicine. You can get the shots or whatever you need. Ace Bailey is currently dealing with tendonitis in both knees per, and this is on hoop height. Uh, Ace Bailey missed the final Utah Jazz preseason game. I'm wondering if they knew, or was that a concern when teams were trying to pick when Ace Bailey was up? I mean, yeah, being a scout is hard in the NBA because you can actually really pick somebody who's doing great in college, and just things can happen. Bad luck. You just have to have good luck, and I don't know like whether teams knew he had knee issues or tendonitis in the knees. In the case of Ace Bailey, but I don't think that should actually. I mean, he's young enough, and tendonitis is treatable, but it's nagging and it sticks around for a long time. I mean, it's not curable. This is crazy. Despite missing Thursday contest, Jazz coach Will Hardy downplayed Bailey's injury. I would too. I would too. Bailey was 1 for 5 from the floor against the Mavericks before leaving the game. Over the first two preseason, Bailey was averaging 22 points. The Jazz selected Bailey with the fifth overall pick. I'm wondering if teams knew that he had tendonitis in the knees. And did that really make a difference? Did that really make a difference in whether they pick him? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. The Utah's fan, okay. Well, yeah. So that being said, I mean, once it happened, that is what it is. So it's not nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. You know, having the tendonitis is not going to actually stop Ace Bailey from developing, but it is a concern. It's not like he's not like the coach is saying. There's no concern. There's a concern. That being said, let's move on. We want to talk a little bit about what I've seen about the NBA, and we had this discussion before about the money, which is very important, and a lot of people don't want to face that. And as fans, I get it because we NBA fans, we check out the game, we like to watch the game, we understand the purity of the game, and the players do too. But of course, they understand the money too because they have agents. But you got to pay attention to that because that determines how your team gets, how it how it gets picked, how it gets grouped together, how you can get what you need to make your team better. You know, so let me bring up something that I seen that a lot of people want. Value of teams or team value, and it makes a big difference. It really does. I know a lot of people want to sit back and say playing the game is the most important thing, and it is. It's very important. The game itself is extremely important as far as the players are concerned, but it is entertainment, and money is involved. And whenever money is involved, it has a lot to do with, you know, draft picks, location, players. You know, players would love to come into this market of New York and play. And it would be nothing better than to win a title in New York, even in Brooklyn, or the Knicks or Brooklyn. It doesn't matter. Winning a title here is big time. It's big time. All you have to do is win one. You got marketing and a large amount of fan base that's large and diverse. I mean, it makes a big difference winning it here than say winning it somewhere else, like Memphis. I'm not trying to downplay Memphis, but I'm saying there's a big difference. Or OKC in the case. I mean, OKC is not exactly a big market, so it makes a difference to the NBA. You know, it makes a difference. When your team is there, it makes a difference how many people are watching, how many people are gambling. So, I mean, everybody want to try to ignore this aspect of the game, and I get it because you don't want to focus on the money part of the game. That's not something that a lot of people want to focus on, but it determines, I believe, where players go and who gets what and why. Why they get what. Because clearly there's 30 teams in the league and everybody wants to win a title. Of course, everybody wants to make money, but they split that money. And when you look at the value of the team, you can determine who's making calls and who's not, who's the shakers and the makers. So let me show you something. Let me bring this up. And this is a list of the most valuable teams in the league. And that this is crazy when you think about it. It makes a difference. Don't think it don't, but it do. The valuable teams, the most valuable teams in the league. So when you look at it, let's see if I can bring it up larger. Let me bring it up larger so you can see it. Okay, when you look at it this way, the 5 most valuable NBA franchise according to, and this is NBC Sports, are as follow. And when Golden State Warriors, $9.4 billion, and New York Knicks, $7.5 billion, Los Angeles Lakers, $7 billion, Chicago Bulls, $5.8 billion. Do you see what this is right here when you look at 2, 3, and 4? What you notice is they're large multiple metropolitan type areas with millions of people. Those are big markets. Extremely. Golden State is kind of like Steph Curry made Golden State. Winning 3 titles gets you this value. Not to mention that California is a big place. which is still, you know, it's still in California, like the Lakers, like the Knicks, and like the Nets. Because if you look down this list, and if you look down the list a little further, and those are the top five, and these are the least, if you look down the list of the top 10, Brooklyn Nets is like 6 or 7. They right behind Houston. So the metropolitan areas are where the money is at as far as the NBA is concerned. Those teams usually get what they want, and or they don't need to get anything from them. They need to focus on teams that have small markets to keep the league going, because those markets can fade away. So it's important that they just, give them the light. They need light in this league. They need the light more than, say, the Knicks or the Nets, because we have a big fan base. We have an extremely large fan base. It's no need to, look at the Knicks and the Nets. Look at the Nets too, but look at the Knicks. The Knicks really were bad for 2, 3 years, 10 years, at least 10 years. They were so bad that it didn't even make a difference. They still sold out. They still was in the top 5. Let one of these teams that's the least favorite. Let me look at the list of the least favorite teams, the least valuable teams. Memphis Grizzlies, Minnesota Timberwolves. Nobody would have thought Minnesota Timberwolves would be that low with Ant-Man on that team. They get plenty of NBC play. They get plenty of primetime games. Plenty. New Orleans Pelicans, Charlotte Hornets, Indiana Pacers. They were just in the finals. But if they didn't do what they do for these teams, these numbers will be even lower than what this is. That's why money matters. The money matters as far as players and teams are concerned, as far as the league is concerned. It matters. It matters. It matters that these teams have superstars on it that they can show and grow the market on these small markets. You can't just have a regular team on these teams. These can't be regular teams. Never. So, sometimes it's a good thing, and then it's a curse. In the case of like the Lakers or the Knicks or the Golden State Warriors, which, I feel like there's going to be a change of hand anyway. Some of these players, some of these teams, some of our superstars are going to be retiring soon. And yes, these young guys got to fill these spots. So, what goes around comes around. But that being said, let me remove that. Let's go back. I want to go here and show, is it a mistake trading Cam Thomas? Is Cam Thomas our franchise player? Is Cam our franchise? Can Cam stay with the Nets and grow? That's the question I ask. Can Cam Thomas stay in the league and grow? Stay on the Nets? I think he could stay I know he could stay in the league. The question is, can he stay on the Nets? Can the Nets make an offer to Cam Thomas? Would you want the Nets would it be a mistake trading Cam Thomas? That's the question I ask. And like I said, I put the link. I want people to answer it, man. Nobody wants to talk about it like it doesn't exist. Please answer it. Please just click the link. Click this link. Yes, it is a mistake, or no, it's not a mistake. I was going to put maybe, but I don't think maybe is necessary. But I clearly think that Cam Thomas is the future of the Nets. He can be. I know they showed that they didn't really want him. That's some serious hardball if you want to think about it. You got to remember Cam had to fire his agent in the middle of those talks with the Nets. He literally had to fire an agent and get a new agent. I don't know if he got bad information or bad advice, but either way, he had to get rid of him. So, that being said, yeah, I don't know. Other than that, let me see. I'm just bring up the Brooklyn Nets thing. That's right, I almost forgot. Let me see if I can bring it up. That's the Forbes list for NBA teams, but that's not the list I'm looking for. NFL teams. Let's see if I can bring up the list for the NBA teams. Forbes list, 51 sports teams. Okay, let's see if I can bring it up. Okay, when you look at the NBA, when you look at it as an NBA thing, NBA. Highest revenue teams. Okay, let me bring this list up. When you look at it, I'm going to bring this list up, and it has a list of the most valuable NBA teams. And when you look at it this way, the most valuable NBA teams, I'm going to bring it larger. You got the Lakers, Golden State Warriors, the New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, LA Clippers, Chicago Bulls, Houston, and then the Nets. You know, after the Nets is Dallas, Philly, Toronto, Phoenix, Miami, Washington, Milwaukee, and Cleveland, Denver, San Antonio, Atlanta, Sacramento, Oklahoma City, which is 21. You got to remember, Oklahoma just won the title. Indiana Pacers, Utah Jazz, Portland Trailblazers, Detroit, Charlotte, Orlando, Minnesota, New Orleans, and Memphis. So, I mean, when you think about money, when you start thinking money, it's important. It plays a role in sports, whether we like it or not, especially at this level. Especially at this level. That's true at this level, period. It's true at this level, period. So, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely eye opening. And again, I want people to, is it a mistake trading Cam Thomas? That's the number one question I ask. Is it a mistake trading Cam Thomas? That's when I want people to write into that, to hit the thing. Is it a mistake to trade Cam Thomas? The link is it should be in the comments. The link is in the comments. Now I want to talk a little bit about Danny Wolf. I like Danny Wolf, but Danny Wolf got some. I mean, all these rookies got to learn. I mean, I get it that we can get a draft pick. We only got one draft pick so far. That's it. All right, that's all you really need if you can get the number one. I mean, we already seen that getting the number one. It's like it's got to be given to you. You got to be extremely lucky. I don't know how Dallas got the number one pick last year. I know nobody talks about it, and they're just like, oh, that's an anomaly or something. Like that's something that did just happen. We seen it happen the year before that too. Since they have implemented this new way of doing the draft picks, it hasn't been going to the teams that's the worst in the league. So I don't put my hopes up high. Oh, we get nothing less than 5. 5 is not a good number. The 5th pick in this draft wasn't that great. I mean, it wasn't Ace Bailey great. It wasn't Cooper great. Wasn't Cooper great? We consider them better than that 5th pick. In that case, Igor, the man is the same thing. Between 5 and 10 is like, okay, good. It's good. Good bench players. You can't use another damn good bench player. We need a star. We need somebody that's going to get theirs. They're going to be there at 5. Even if we get the 5th pick, are they going to be there at 5? That's the question I ask. I understand it looks good. It looks good. I'm telling you. I understand. It do look good. Of course if I wanted to pick, it would be the 1st or the 2nd pick. That's the pick I want. But how you get that 1st and 2nd pick? By tanking? You might get it. You might. But I could tell you one thing. It hasn't been going that way. It definitely haven't not been going that way. I have to say that. I have to say that because it's true. It has not gone that way. And how long we're going to keep trying to do this and see the same result because it's not going that way. Maybe they need to redo the draft. Maybe they need to do the draft. The draft need to be redone. Nobody want to say that, but maybe the draft need to be redone. Maybe the draft need to be redone. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with thinking that the draft need to be redone. Yeah. So I look forward to the regular season. Let me look at the Nets playoff run or regular season run. Let's look at the Nets. Nets regular season. Regular season schedule. Okay. Let's look at the regular season schedule. Let's see. Brooklyn Nets regular season schedule. Okay. We had the preseason game. I guess this is Friday, right? Toronto Raptors. We playing in Toronto. Then we have regular season starts. Wednesday. That would be next Wednesday. 7 days to regular season. First game, the Hornets. And the Hornets look great. I ain't going to lie to you. I kid you not. The Hornets look great. I just finished watching them play. They look great. The whole team look good. Everybody's playing really well. Then we play Barclays Center. The Cavs come here. Okay. They got a T-shirt giveaway for the Cleveland Cavaliers. San Antonio Spurs Sunday, the 26th. Okay, and then we play. That's a back-to-back. We play. Oh, we in Texas. That's why. There are 2 away games. We play the Spurs and then Rockets. And after this Rocket game, these rookies are gonna find out. You know how you say to yourself, you got to learn. You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn what the league is about after those 2 games. Right then, you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out right there. That's why you have to have vets. You gotta have vets because these rookies get killed out there, and nobody want to watch a team get killed. And the league don't need that neither. The league don't want tanking is not the league thing. So that's another thing. You can't just go into the game and go, "Oh, fuck it. Be 10 and 60." I mean, teams done it, and it took them 10 years to get out of that shitter. And nobody ain't gonna wait 10 years in Brooklyn, man. Ain't nobody waiting 10 years for Brooklyn. Brooklyn would be having to move out of New York. It's bad enough you got the Knicks across the river. Then we play Atlanta. Well, we got a tough beginning schedule. Toronto, Charlotte, Cleveland, San Antonio Spurs, Houston Rockets, Atlanta Hawks, Philadelphia 76ers, Minnesota Timberwolves. These are 2 home games. These are back-to-backs. We got a lot of back-to-backs. We got a back-to-back. Then we got 1 day off. Then another game. Then we got a couple of days off. Then the second and the third, we got the Sixers and the Timberwolves. And we got the Pacers, the 5th. Remember November 4th in New York, there's voting. Then we Pacers away game. So if you look at it, the first 10 games, just the first 10 games, if I was going to grade the first 10 games, Toronto Raptors, that's that might be a win. I know it's in Toronto. Oh, that's a preseason. Charlotte, we play at the Spectrum. That's a loss. That's a L. That's 1. Cleveland, that's 2. That's 2. The Spurs, on the road, that's 3. We're going to be 0-3. Houston, that's 0-4. Atlanta, at the Barclays Center, that might be a W. We'd be 1-4. Philly, at the Barclays Center, possible. That's gonna be a good game. I'd say 2-4. Minnesota Timberwolves, 2-5, even at the Barclays. Pacers, well, they might win that game. Could be 3-5. Detroit, oh, that's an L. That's not a back-to-back, though. Okay. Well, I say we'd be 2-6. 2-6. The Knicks, I'm going to always say a win on that. but you're playing at the Garden, and by that time, we're going to know what type of team we have. We're gonna figure it out by then, whether where the Nets are. You know, who's who, and who's gonna do what. We'll know by then. The Knicks, Toronto Raptors, Orlando, and the Wizards. I say up to the next game we should be 2-6. So that being said, it's gonna be interesting. I can't wait. This Friday, I think I'm going to stream that game. I think I'm going to stream on that game. This last preseason game. I really can't wait till the regular season, because I think this is going to be like telling for the Nets. And it's going to be telling for Sean Marks. I personally think his job is on the line if he missed on any of these draft picks. And I'm telling you, somebody better show something. They better not go out there and stink like all hell. Better be exciting or something. So, that being said, I'm looking forward to it. That being said. Okay, like and subscribe. I'm going to get ready to bounce out. Like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. We'd like to thank John for showing up. Thank you, John. And I'm out. Peace, everybody.